It's the behind the shade show.
And one of the struggles I've seen them go through is they feel uncomfortable with men who aren't abusive, let's say who are healthy, who are in
I
their
see.
masculine from a
Yeah,
source of care but not control.
right.
How can we maybe help those women to show them there is good out there and to help them become more comfortable with the healthier side of masculine energy?
Wow, Taryn, that is it's such an on point and very, very powerful question. And I appreciate you asking it. And I want to name that that's not an uncommon experience for women, even for women who haven't necessarily experienced more severe forms of abuse or different kinds of abuse. Women are often almost trained, enculturated, used to putting on a lot of protection mechanisms in order to navigate our world. And we often become dysregulated in our own nervous systems as a result. For women, accepting care often comes with strings. An example I give to my clients many times is, it's very common. I'm sure many women have experienced this. You go out, you're having fun. Maybe you're at a bar, a restaurant, a club, somewhere, and a man comes and offers to buy you a drink. That could be a simple gesture of care, but historically, in our culture, in our world, in our context, that often puts the strings on and makes us feel as if we then owe them. And that one simple exchange triggers a whole cascade of responses inside a woman to armor up, to protect, to be leery of this person who perhaps may just be offering a drink. We don't know, right? But the implications of it are often so much deeper because unfortunately, and I hate this statistic, but and I'm sure you know the answer to this. Do you know who the most dangerous man a woman will ever meet is, Train?
I have an idea, but I don't think I know.
Her husband. Statistically, it's her husband. So we have to walk around this world with this kind of armor of protection up. That's exhausting. It's tiring. I don't think it's fair. It is a way for us to feel safer in the world. And so when a man arrives with a whole heart, with healthy masculinity, it may actually be so foreign and unknown that it still triggers the same kind of dysregulated protection in the woman. It's very difficult for us to discern, especially from the outset, whether this care and healthy masculinity is true, authentic, and will stay. Many perpetrators, predators, abusers are excellent at showing us care at first, giving us a sense of safety and security, which women crave, and then essentially turning that on its head and creating situations of abuse that we then find very, very difficult to extract ourselves from.
I've seen that happen where they thought it was good and it was until it wasn't.
Yes,
Right?
exactly. Exactly. And look, I think that humans are brave. If you look at the long history of evolution of humans, humans are brave, and we have to be. We have to be intrepid. And actually, the survival of our species really relies on us being in relationship, relying on each other, partnering with one another. We've come as far as we have evolutionarily because we exist in tribes and community. So there is a bit, and I applaud all of us for this, an inbuilt sense of bravery trying to trudge back out there and be like, okay, well, maybe this time. Well, maybe this time. Maybe we've learned our lesson. And it is very difficult to read those signs early on when we're being shown care, cherishing, what we think of as authenticity. Look, and one of the things I do with a lot of the women I work with, because I work with women one on one in coaching. I work with them in groups, and I work with them on exactly this. And I work with really high powered, high achieving women too, who are deeply ashamed that they weren't, quote, smart enough to see this, right? They didn't see the signs. They should have seen it coming. And all that shame almost compounds. They feel even more scared to speak up and talk about it. And I'll call myself out. I've been through it myself. As a high powered achieving woman, I've also been in an abusive relationship where it took me over a year to tell anyone what was going on because I should have known better. So, there's a lot of pressure on women to put on a brave face, to make it look like everything's okay, to appear as if, you've got it all together. Meanwhile, you're like the duck's feet under the pond, paddling away, exerting all of that energy, making that top kind of graceful glide look effortless and seamless. And that level of dysregulation in the nervous system has real physical effects on women. And it actually can change your brain chemistry. It can alter your thought patterns. It certainly leads to anxiety and depression. And all of these things effectively become a downward spiral. And what I believe you will know, Terrain, in your work with women who've been in relationships like this, and what I know is that, and I don't say this because I don't think women are capable. I know women to be capable of anything. But women who are in an abusive cycle like this, they cannot escape alone. They need support. They need a friend, a system, a network. They need family. They need someone outside of them to help them through this because, of course, another statistic that I don't love, but that is true, is when is the most dangerous time for a woman in an abusive relationship?
I would say when she leaves.
Yes, the moment she decides to leave. Nothing is more dangerous than that moment. So knowing that, and many women do know that, many women do their best to make it work and stay. And that's brave. That's brave. But it can also be incredibly detrimental.
Do you see some women who decide to leave? When they do leave, they go back.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And, again, I always want to speak to the goodness and the bravery of the humans on both sides of this equation, right? Everyone has the power to change. Everyone has the power to make great decisions. And going back, the women that I know who go back to abusive relationships, and many do, this is statistically true. Most go back at least several times before they finally make a final exit, if they might make a final exit. And I believe it's hope. So I did an informal study with the women in my community a while back, asking them, what are the reasons that you either stay or go back? Is it because you're financially trapped? Is it because of the kids? Is it because I think I gave like 8 or 10 different reasons. And the far and away number one reason that every woman who answered that question ticked off was the hope that things will get better. Look, if you look at that in isolation, that's a brave and good choice made from the big heart of a woman who loves deeply. And I want to name that these abusers aren't, in their totality, they're not 100% abusers, right? They have other qualities. They have other things going on. Maybe they're really smart. Maybe they have windows of kindness. Maybe, they were, for several years, that big-hearted, kind, healthy masculine. Maybe something tripped that switch. Maybe they did the grift for a long time. We don't know. But this woman is going to know the wholeness of this human, a portion of which is an abuser. And there are many reasons why people abuse. And we know one of the primary reasons is that that person themselves has been abused, right? That old saying, hurt people, hurt people. Women are healers. Women are the emotional calibrators of any space that they're in. Women have incredible powers of communication. We can talk things through. And I think that a lot of women in abusive scenarios have the desire and the hope that they can help to heal. And that's not I wouldn't say that that's false hope, and I wouldn't say that that's a delusional narrative. Because, psychology tells us we are wounded in relationship in early childhood, and we are healed in relationship in adulthood. The challenge is that both people, both adults, have to be on that program. So if the other party, if the person who is the abuser isn't on the program, ready to change really, truly, and authentically, isn't perhaps also getting additional support, that might not happen, but it doesn't mean that the woman is wrong for trying. I think it becomes, I wouldn't say a wrong choice, but it becomes a dangerous and an unhealthy choice when the patterns don't shift, right? When it just becomes the downward spiral that you get mired in and things really don't change.
I've seen that from the male perspective where there was a woman, she was trying to do the work because she had a negatively impactful childhood,
Mm-hmm.
right? The love was
Mm-hmm.
conditional. Get me a straight A, I'll give you validation. Run the fastest marathon, and I'll show you love from both her mother or her father, like a lot of us struggle with.
Yes,
In her adulthood, what she did is that she sought out people that were giving love on conditions. So
sure.
unfortunately for her, she came across someone that wasn't that way. She came across a man that wasn't that way. And this man was accepting and understanding. But unfortunately for their relationship, because her baseline was the trauma, was a conditional love, she began to feel unworthy of this
Right.
type of relationship, right? So she started to self-sabotage and she started to sabotage it. Do you see
Mhm.
women experiencing that and maybe they don't understand why they're doing it, but they actually are doing it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, and that's a really great and valid point. And I think what it highlights is the unfortunate cliche, Terrain, that we effectively live out our childhood wounds and traumas as adults until we find the right healing ground to resolve them. And it sounds as if that healing ground may have been provided by this healthy masculine partner. And if she wasn't ready to really do the work, and look, we are healed in relationship and partnership, but it's not always specifically our partner who can do the healing. They can provide the ground for the healing, but some of this psychological trauma, it needs additional support. It needs the help of a therapist or a couples therapist. And, I don't want to give the impression that two people in isolation who are unpracticed without the skills and tools, resources necessary can accomplish that healing. All support is good support. All help is good help. Get it where it's necessary. And I do hope that, whether this particular woman got to the finish line of that particular healing, maybe this was the fertile ground for her to realize that internal work needed to be done. And maybe she doesn't heal it with this partner, but let's hope that it opened up her eyes enough that she desired to heal herself and maybe prepare for the next partner. But yes, I do see that. And look, it happens on both sides, right? Self sabotage is real. That performance for love is real. The idea that you have to earn your love is real. Women work to earn belonging. We give ourselves away in order to try to be useful and needed. And in doing so, we drain ourselves and deplete ourselves and burn ourselves out. And it creates a cycle where we then can no longer give. And so we are discarded anyway.